Welcome to the Baron's Hideout Podcast. I'm your host, Dustin,
And I'm your co-host Aaron.
and today we're closing out our month one of our series Camp Camp with Chopping Mall. And this is Aaron's first time viewing, once again, as usual. This is why this whole podcast is super fun. It's because we get to do it with this lunatic over here, and he gets to watch all his movies for the first time, and we can get his impressions. And before we jump into everything like our socials and everything else we got to talk about today, Aaron, uh, what do you think of this movie on first glance?
It was very 80s.
Yes, very 80s.
um, I thought it was kind of cheesy at first, but it grows on you. I think after as you watch it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the cast is really good too. There's
Yeah,
some heavy hitters in there.
yeah, I really enjoyed it though.
Yeah. Me too. This is probably I've seen this when I was younger. Not like super young, but I would think around 11 or 12. So quite a while ago, and I thought it was really cheesy, and it actually kind of scared me when I was a kid, just because I was always going to the malls, and like we obviously don't really have a lot of malls now because everything is online and
Amazon.
yeah, digital and whatnot. But yeah, just like thinking about going to a mall and just like seeing a robot there is
I'm
kind
good.
of
I
crazy.
remember the first time I saw one of those robots at Walmart, the ones that scan the shelves and shit. You know what I'm
Oh
talking about? It scared
yes.
the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's it's crazy. When you're a kid, your imagination is super wild, and seeing a movie like that just kind of amplifies it. But it's a fun movie. The kills are pretty.
Pretty creative.
Yeah, they are. They're a
It's-
little tame.
Yeah.
But then again, this was a very low budget film, and it was also the '80s. I don't remember what year it was, but we'll get into.
86?
Was it
Yeah.
'86? We'll get into like all like the statistics and whatnot of the film later on. Right now, we're going to do our usual rundown, beginning of the show talk. And there's a couple of points that I want to talk about today before we jump into like the actual socials. There's something really big happening in our area because we live in Massachusetts and we're very close to Salem. And there's a festival that's going to be happening pretty much all of next month in Salem, and it's my favorite festival to attend. Not just because it's local, it's just because of the views and just how it's run, and the people that are there, and the movies that are there, and how they support people that don't really have a voice, especially in horror and outside of horror. That is Salem Horror Fest. Aaron has attended 2 years with me, or is it 1 year?
I think it was just 1 year.
Yeah, because last year it was all digital. I don't think you had a lot of time to go and watch the whole catalog that they had. But
Yeah.
so that would have been 2019 is when you went with me. I've been going since 2018, and it's super fun. I think this is their fifth year, and it's ran by a very awesome person by the name of Kay, and she is amazing. Her views are absolutely amazing, especially on the world and how she kind of talks about all these idiots in the world that, think getting a vaccine is going to make you a fucking magnet and all that stuff. And once again, guys, we're not anti vax here. We're fully vaxxed. And if you don't like the things that we say sometimes on here, you don't have to listen. But thank you for listening anyway, up until that point. Um, But yeah, that's going to be happening all next month. And we're going to be covering, it's pretty much the first 2 weekends and then the ending of the month from I think the 22nd through the 31st. They're doing the virtual fest. So if you guys can't make it in person there and you want to still support this amazing festival, you guys can go and get a virtual badge, which I think is 149 per person. And you can watch everything on there unlimited amount of times up until it's over, which is really really cool because a lot of things that they're doing live are going to be on the virtual fest. So if you are there in person and you wanted to rewatch something, you kind of get a second chance to do that, because a lot of things are either world premieres, first time in the U.S., or um, things that will be released soon. There was one movie that was actually made very local in Providence called Death Drop Gorgeous, which was made by a bunch of people in Rhode Island for pretty much the whole LBGTQ plus community. I think I said that right. There's so many like letters and stuff
No,
on there.
no.
I always get it messed up. So I'm sorry guys if I fucked that up. But yeah, they are very local to us because we live also very close to Rhode Island, and they had a really cool like slasher um last year that went by, Death Drop Gorgeous, and I think the actual release to like video, like home video, I think is the 15th of this month. I could be wrong, but I'm definitely gonna get a pick that up because I want Aaron to watch it. I think he'll get a kick out of it. It's low budget, but it's very very fun, and it's a really good slasher, and a lot of really cool things that happen in it. But yeah, it's just a lot of stuff like that that happens in this fest. Um, but Aaron, for your first time being there, I mean, we went for I think a couple of days. First day was kind of rough because we had like nothing to do for like 3 or 4 hours.
Well, because we had went for Ice Nine Kills, right?
Yes, we saw Ice Nine Kills do their whole catalog of their music videos, right?
Yep. And then they did like a Q&A, and we took a piss with the band.
Yeah, that was really fun. But for your first time being there and like getting the vibe, and I think that was also kind of like your first time really being in Salem as well. So you were just getting
Mhm.
everything all at once.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Did you feel welcome there,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like
Um,
just tell me what you were going through when we were
well, I
there.
think when things kicked off, like it got a little hectic for a little while. But other than that, though, it was, very welcoming. Everybody there was super laid back, and
Hmm.
I had a good time. I saw Suspiria for the first time there too, I believe.
Yep, we both saw Suspiria for the first time in
Um, and
theaters.
is now one of our favorites.
Yep,
So
we reviewed that movie, so you guys can actually go back and go hear us talk about that um, even more in depth. But yeah, it's a super welcoming.
environment.
Yeah, unless you are someone who's opposing the ideas of the people that are running it, because they will shut you down and go after you very quickly. So if you're an idiot, don't go anywhere near here. I promise you, it will not end well. It won't just be them that's going after you. But yeah, support local horror.
Which,
And
speaking of, Patreon.
yes, that's also another thing that you guys can support us, and to support horror in general is go and subscribe to our Patreon for just $1 a month, guys.
You get our notes, you get access to the episodes before everybody else. Like the night, was it the night of the
Night.
stream?
Yep. So we stream this live pretty much every Saturday on Twitch at 9 p.m. or a little bit early. Like in this case, we started a little bit earlier today. So as soon as the broadcast is over, I go and get everything uploaded. Pretty much everywhere, get everything scheduled. But the one thing that gets it early is Patreon, and that's tonight. And then the next day, the following day, is when it gets released to everything else.
But and it just shows us the support.
Yes, and we really do.
Appreciate.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the word. Appreciate everybody who supports us. We have a steady 4 or 5 supporters on there, and I really do thank them. They are listed on everything. I don't. I wish I knew all their names on top of their heads, on
One
top
of
of my
them
head.
being Spencer Charnas
Yes,
of Ice Nine Kills.
yeah, the official lead singer of Einstein Kills does support us on there, which is really
I love
awesome.
saying that.
Yes, I'm surprised he hasn't like stopped just like renewing.
Maybe he's got like a debit card that he uses specifically just to like subscribe to people's Patreons to show support, and he just like puts money in each one
Yeah, that would be
because
really funny.
he's got to be loaded.
Oh yeah, and he's a really awesome dude. I'm upset because he's in North Carolina right now, or was in Horror Fest. So he's going to horror conventions, but we don't have anything here other than Salem Horror Fest. I don't know if he's gonna be there. I don't know if he's gonna
Maybe he'll
set
make a
up
surprise appearance.
if he's gonna set up his Cleaver clothing line there. I don't know if they're gonna be a sponsor for this. I would imagine they probably would, because I mean he was part of the fest like 2 years ago with the
Mm-hmm.
full band, and Cleaver is right out of Salem, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do show up there, but there's
Yeah.
nothing listed on like the actual fest's site if they're going to be there
Yeah.
supporting them. But yeah, there's a lot of shit happening next month. It's not just the fest. We're also going to be doing our whole
Halloween month.
yeah, Halloween month of the Halloween movies. We're going to be reviewing all of them. And obviously we're going to be reviewing Halloween Kills as well as soon as that's released, and I cannot wait for that.
I'm
As soon
excited.
as tickets go on sale, I'm buying them and we're going. I don't care if it's a midnight release, Aaron, because it would be a
Opening night,
Friday.
baby.
So maybe you'd be okay. I know you'll probably work the night, but you'll have the next day off, so I guess you won't be too
Nah.
dead. And maybe no, that'd be too much. I think come home and do like the review. That'd be like so much work. Just like there with like a notepad, like okay, this happened. These many kills happened. Um, and then another thing that we like to shout out a lot is some Liquid Death. We love these guys so much. They aren't a sponsor, but one day, hopefully, it might happen. We'll see. It's up to you guys. If you let them know that we support them a lot, and they hear that, maybe we'll get a cool sponsorship out of them, and then we can start giving away cases to people. That would be awesome. I mean, we kind of do that anyway when we have guests on. We like to send like a choice of their water. We haven't really had a guest on here in a while, just because we went on a break and then everybody else was going on breaks when we were coming back from our break. So yeah, we haven't really had any guests, but we're always welcoming anybody in the horror community or even like outside the horror community. If you guys want to come and just like talk about a movie or horror in general, we're always open to have you guys come and just talk some shit with us.
Yeah.
And we'll send you a case of Liquid Death and also a shirt of your choosing off of our Teespring store, which is just the Baron's Hideout _ podcast. If you guys want to support us even more, you can go there and get some shirts. I think
Mugs.
this, yeah,
We got
mugs,
everything basically.
pillows. I think I have
Hats.
wall flags. I think I have some hats on there. But I haven't really. That's like one thing I haven't really been pushing a lot lately, and I feel like maybe we probably should, and we should probably start wearing the shirts again.
Oh yeah.
I'm wearing an actual Michael Myers shirt right here from was this H2O, Halloween H2O, Michael Myers. Um, so other than that, that's pretty much all I have for the beginning portion before we jump into all the other socials. I just really wanted to drive and let everybody know about the Salem Horror Fest that's happening. If you do want to buy a VIP pack, that's for it includes both weekends in person and the virtual fest. It's $199, which honestly is pretty cheap for a festival, because a lot of places charge like for VIP like thousands of dollars, and this
Yeah.
has a lot of content, and they do a lot more than just movies and stuff throughout the day. So please go and support Salem, support local artists and movie makers from all over the world. Now let's jump into our actual socials where you guys can find us and interact with us the most, which would be Twitter, which is just the BHO_podcast, is where I'm pretty much there all the time, just trying to, even if I'm not posting things, I'm trying to like at least talk in comments or
Interact with
DMs and stuff
everybody.
like that, just to let people know like what's going on. And I like to support other podcasts. Like there's one that just happened. They actually went through a really rough break. I want to give them a shout out. They went from a break from an old podcast they were in. They lost a friend that pretty much just like cut ties with them completely. But that's like a whole nother story for them to talk about if they want to. But it's run by two really awesome girls that are in Scotland, and it's called Ghoul Friends, and it's really really cool. They put out their first episode on Wednesday, and they did, what did they do? They did like a zombie theme, so that like each week what they're doing is like doing different themes, and it's really really cool. So I wanted to give them a shout out because they're really funny to listen to. Um, and there's another podcast I listen to is the House of Screams. A lot of these I need to send to you, Aaron, if you have time
Okay.
to like listen to podcasts. I was like, I want to start shouting out other podcasters and not just us, because I feel like we're so, not that we are self-centered, but I
Conceited.
feel like sometimes that's how we're probably coming off, and I want people to know like, hey, we listen to your shit. But yeah,
Yeah.
House of Screams are really good. That's a big group too, It's like 5 people, I think, that run the podcast, and they all talk
Shit.
about movies. It's crazy. It's chaotic, but it's awesome. So that's like a couple of them that I listen to that I need to get Aaron to start listening to. And the one that I listen to a lot is Postmortem with Mick Garris. I feel like a lot, like almost everybody in the horror community probably listens to Postmortem, and it's really good. He just does deep dives with all of the directors and stuff. Obviously, he's friends with everybody because Mick Garris did all like Stephen King adaptations and worked with Joe Dante and John Landis and all this other shit. It's great in there. He really gets into their heads and like learns how they either write or direct or
All
whatnot.
that fun stuff.
Yeah. And then another place where you can find us that is I'm also pretty active on is Instagram, which is just the Barons Hideout _ podcast. Um, Pretty much whatever I post on Twitter, it goes on there. I could do more on Twitter than you can on Instagram because obviously it's just picture based. And on Twitter you can actually type things and not have to have a picture to go along with it. But that's another spot where you can find me. Aaron, where can people find you?
I'm mostly on Instagram right now. My handle is arowbho. That's AROWEBHO, and I have been considering joining Twitter again.
Ooh, really? You haven't
So
told me this.
surprise, surprise, yeah. So keep an eye out for that.
I'm excited
Yeah.
actually. And then oh my god, the reach we can get now. Woo, Aaron, yes. Just to be very careful where you go on Twitter because it can be pretty bad.
Aw,
Um but where I am, as long as you're in the horror community, you're pretty good.
yeah.
That's where I am on like every platform is deep center in the horror community because everybody there is so welcoming and amazing.
But yeah, keep an eye out for that.
All right.
In the meantime, watch my Instagram.
Yes, please do. And then you can also find us on TikTok, which is really just promotional use. Or even lately, I posted some stuff on there when I was in Salem. I pretty much did a whole 3-part, just like walkthrough of the whole main street of Essex Street, which is where all like the main shops are and where everybody goes. That's the big part. So if you want to see how Salem looks, if you've never done it, you can go check us out there at the Barons Hideout _ podcast. Oh, nope, I lied. It's the BHO _ podcast. And I also have a really cute video of my 3-year-old son running through Spirit Halloween for the first time this year that has like almost like 1,500 views on it. So that's probably the most reach I think I've ever gotten on anything. So it's pretty cool. Not a lot of likes, but a lot of views, so I'll take it. And obviously Twitch is where we are right now. We are streaming this live for everybody. That's just the Barons Hideout _ podcast. And once again, I feel like I have to address this every time. I hate that I did this, but if you guys want to watch the VODs on Twitch and you don't want to go to any other platform to do so, you guys have to subscribe to us. I'm sorry I did that, but we have so many other platforms. I need to try to condense things and try to make things a little bit easier for Aaron and I to kind of get numbers of like who's listening and who's not and whatnot. So you guys can subscribe for free if you have Amazon Prime. All you gotta do is just go to where it says subscribe, and there'll be like a little like thing that'll say subscribe for free. And all you gotta do is do Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon Prime, it's $5 a month. But either way, anything supports us, and I thank you guys so much for doing so. And then we also have our YouTube, which is the Barons Hideout _ podcast, and that's just pretty much everything archived. There's a few odds and ends on there, like when I was starting to do the Dustin Thoughts episodes, which I kind of dropped because I didn't like how it was going, and I feel like I need to kind of rework that format, and I don't know, take it back to the drawing board. But I think that's pretty much all that I have for socials. Is there anything you want to add before we jump into this, Aaron?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm ready to go chopping.
I think, was it you that started last week or was it me for Wolf Cop? Do you remember?
Wolf Cop, I think you started.
Okay.
Yeah, you did.
All right. Well, we have the opportunity this week to have Aaron start Chopping Mall.
Alrighty. So, we start off. We're in a mall, and there's some burglars, or a burglar in the beginning. He's eyeballing some jewelry. He breaks the glass. He swipes everything. He thinks he's gonna get away with it. Sly bastard. But then find out he's being hunted by a robot, a security droid, or a killbot, which you'll later to
Yeah, I think
find
they're
out.
called like protectrons, right?
Protectron. Yep. So he's running away. He sees this robot. He shoots it. Realizes it's a robot. The bullets aren't gonna do shit to it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
um, and this robot's coming up pretty fast too, and he ends up stunning the dude, and then we come out of a commercial or like a video from a presentation
Yeah.
um to show people a new form of mall security. Um, so and then we got Stan Simon, who is the inventor of the robots. He's sorry, excuse me. He introduces the new Protectrons.
Yep.
Everybody, you get this one couple who just, with their snarky comments.
I should have quoted some of
Yeah,
what I
that's.
was saying.
I'm trying to remember some of them, but they're just making little, like I said, little snarky comments throughout the presentation. This guy's going on about his robots. And he gives a demonstration. I'm pretty sure, sort of.
He
Kind of like he like points out like it's like,
He has,
oh,
like-
they have tranquilizers
Yeah.
that'll put a man out in 30 seconds.
they have like these
Lasers
and,
and
shit. It's like,
tasers.
Why would it need lasers?
Yeah, right. But anyway, but they also installed armored doors around the mall that seal shut at midnight and don't open until 6 a.m. So if you're in the mall after hours, you're stuck there till 6 a.m.
I mean, I guess that wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Yeah.
But the
until
doors are locked unless you know how to open up the doors. I mean, if you're someone who works there, maybe it's okay
yeah.
because like you probably have
Well, they have the
access.
badges, remember too,
Yeah.
and that they scanned.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. I don't know. I just think that's not a bad thing if you're locked in the mall, but
Yeah.
you find out
It could
that
be worse
it is
places
a bad
than.
thing.
But anyways, so he unveils the first robot, which is Protectron number 1.
They all have numbers.
Yeah, there are 3 of them. But he unveils number 1. People asking, they're like, "Oh, how are they gonna tell? What if somebody's working late, and how are they gonna differentiate people?" And he goes, "Oh, that's easy." He pulls out the robot, or he pulls a cloth off the robot, turns it on, he activates the robot, and he shows him an ID badge.
Yep.
Who every mall employee has one. At this
If
point,
you don't, you're fucked.
yeah. The robot scans his ID. He goes, "Thank you. Have a nice day." And
You're gonna hear that a lot in this. in this
I love
movie.
it. Yep.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And he says absolutely nothing can go wrong. So we'll see.
And then we fade. I think
To a cheesy montage.
Yeah, during like the working hours of the mall, and there's like this one girl who's carrying like this tray of like drinks.
Coca-Cola and food and
Like she dodges everybody, and then she gets to the table, puts it down, and it falls. And it's going on for like I want to say like 30 seconds.
yeah.
And she's like, she made it all the way there, and this poor girl drops it on a group of like boys. I think it was like all boys or something. It's
Yeah.
like, God damn.
I'd be pissed. But what got me was the little boy in the elevator with the ice cream cone.
Oh yeah.
He comes out, it's all melted over him.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, trust me, I know that firsthand for having a 3-year-old.
But yeah, so we got a cheesy montage of the mall throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
But then you cut to 2 waitresses in a restaurant at the mall. They're talking shit about a customer who orders more food than he needs. And he's portrayed as a pretty gross dude. He's like his shirt's dirty and he's like just like stuffing his face.
Such a trope.
Yeah. So It turns so the two waitresses are Allison and Susan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're at work. They're talking about their plans after work. There's gonna be a party in the mall after hours, and um, one of them ends up dropping a plate, and um, but that's not important. It's just
No, not
a
really.
little side note, but
Yeah, the chef gets kind of pissed.
yeah, they get an angry, dirty chef. You see his fucking shirt.
Yeah, it's
I
like
couldn't
I
work like
feel like
that.
in almost like all the '80s movies, whenever there's like
You just got the greasy white T-shirt
yeah, you get like
and
a depiction of like a diner or something, and the person who's behind it is just super dirty and like
hairy and
overweight, and it's just
greasy.
like it's not just someone normal and someone clean. It's always somebody dirty.
Yeah,
It's like why? Like I know I've been to a couple of places where it's like that, but for the majority, people don't really look like that, and if they are, they're definitely not on the front counter. You know, yeah, drive away
right.
business.
Oh man, but anyway, and then we got a thunderstorm, which ends up hitting the mall and messing with the computers that run the whole security system.
I like
Um,
this scene a lot.
yeah. Um, so, and then we got an office on the third floor of the mall where the computers are kept. We got a security guard who runs everything.
Hmm.
His computers start to like, zap and, go crazy. He's just like, oh, what the fuck? And he doesn't think anything of it at first. He messes with his buttons and knobs and all that fun stuff. Um, so, but yeah, he's chilling. He's got his feet up on the friggin' counter on the desk, and as he's looking at nudie magazines. Um, he's looking at a pair of titties, and then suddenly,
Yeah, literally.
Protectron, or Killbot as they are now known,
Yeah.
drives through the magazine and just is it his throat. I think he gets him with the claw
Yeah, it's
or his
like a
face.
grappling hook, and then he just like I think he
Oh, it was
like pulls him back, right, and
yeah.
like snaps his neck.
But yeah,
Pretty cool effect.
yeah.
I mean these robots look
Considering
really
how
cool too. You know.
yeah, I mean it was such a like typical like representation of what people thought robots looked like too back then. You know what I mean? Like every time you seen like a robot in like a movie, I feel
Yeah.
like they at least in like horror movies and like but
Yeah, it's super bulky and
hmm
on like tracks and stuff like
yeah,
that.
they were efficient though. Those things are fucking tough.
They're pretty quick too.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah. So then we cut to a party, an after work party in the furniture store. Um, if you want to pick up on the
Sure.
party, yeah.
So yeah, we cut to after the security guard is dead. There's like a little dance party, makeup session with all the people that some of them that we were introduced, and there was like a little scene before.
Was like the boss and
Yeah,
fucking
that's like
douchey guy. I forget his name.
yeah there's Mike, George, Rich, and Ferdy, and Ferdy is a pretty like
He's
he's
like
like almost like a main focus on this story from like here on out. But yeah, there was like a little scene of them like working, I think in the furniture store. I think is where they worked, right?
mm-hmm.
I didn't write it down just because it was so quick and didn't really hold a lot. So it's them kind of saying the same thing that like Allison and Susie were talking about, like, hey, there's a after work party and we're gonna go do this and drink and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we cut to that party and we know that everybody now is a couple. There's a few people that we weren't really introduced to before, which is like I think Linda and Leslie. We weren't really introduced to them until now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're just dancing around and we're getting like cutbacks from them to Ferdy, who is looking in the mirror and like fixing himself up because he's meeting this girl he's never met before, and he's pretty much forced there to kind of keep his mouth shut and not say anything to the boss about them being in the store after hours. So he's there, he's like fixing himself, he takes off his glasses, he's making faces, and he's like unbuttoning his shirt, he's like, ooh. And then we jump to Susie and I think George, I believe, is her boyfriend. They pull him out of the room to go meet Allison, who we already met at the beginning, and kind of get this feeling of love at first sight because when they're looking at each other, like she's smiling a lot, but I don't know if it's for nerves, and I know he's definitely nervous as hell. But
Clearly.
just like how they are looking at each other and kind of just saying like hi, and it's really funny because after they're saying hi, we get Susie and George kind of mocking them, saying hi, and they start kissing and whatnot. Um, then we get some more of the killbots just going on patrol, and they're all activating on their floors because they're at the top 3 floors. So there's um, bot 1, 2, and 3, and they kind of just activate and go patrol. And the first one is patrolling the his floor, and then rolls by where the group is in the furniture store, just looks at them, turns, and just keeps going. Uh, and then we get all the ones kind of going online. Then we cut back to the party. Well, this is more like the after party because everybody is now
They're already like basically having sex.
Yeah, they're all pretty much having sex and whatnot, and we're seeing all of them. It's kind of there's a lot of walking shots in this film, but they're done very well and they're not too long. And this is definitely one of them because we get Linda and Rick, and then we pan over to Susie and George. And Susie is like kind of playing around with George, and then starts like stripping down for him, and we get I think our first pair of tits, and we get a couple of shots of those in this movie. So I mean, who doesn't like boobies?
In classic horror movie fashion.
Yeah, and then the people who are really going at it is Leslie and Mike is so fucking annoying. Before we go on any further, he's always chewing gum, and it's the most annoying
fucking. I'm glad that you picked up on that too.
He's just like
fucking
chomping
camel
on it, and it's just like, god damn, dude.
Like, it looks like he's getting ready to like spit, and he has that like fucking like snarky look on his face all the time. He's like,
it's like, fuck, man, come on. Just spit up the gum and act like a normal person. Like he's too good for everybody else. So yeah,
I did not like him.
No, me either. So they're really getting it on. Then we get to the final group is Allison and Ferdy. And what kind of name is Ferdy? I've never heard of that. Is that like short for like Frederick?
Maybe.
Or something, but I've never heard
Ferdy.
So they're just watching a horror movie inside a horror movie. So, I mean, it's kind of classic. That's like a John Carpenter thing. Like, he was always having people, like, watch horror movies in, like, his movies, which is kind of cool. You can definitely tell that they're still pretty nervous. Allison, probably not as much now. I mean, she's watching a horror movie, and she was even saying, like, I don't know why I watch these. It scared the crap out of me. And, she does like this really cool shot of her throwing away a can.
Oh,
she,
yeah.
throws it like over
the
her
cup,
shoulder,
yep.
and then it goes into the trash and like expert shot. And I think they kiss after that. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, they start making out, or not making out, but yeah. And then we cut over to Walter, the janitor,
the iconic Dick Miller, who actually passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately. I love Dick Miller. There's actually a really cool documentary on him. I think it was actually premiered last year at Salem Horror Fest, I believe, which was the Dick Miller, pretty much like, just documentary, because last year was all like Joe Dante.
Yeah.
Like inspired, and Joe Dante used Dick Miller in like all his films. So it was part of like the collection of that, which was really, really cool. I forget what it's called. As Aaron continues, I'll look up the name of it so I can let you guys know.
Okay. So we're introduced to Walter, who is a janitor who's mopping the floors with some disgusting, milky, like nasty ass rancid water. I don't know what he was mopping up, but apparently somebody spilled something. He was pissed about it. He was gonna hunt him down, and the other janitors are just drinking their beers, laughing at him, like, "Oh, don't get locked in again."
Yeah.
So he's like, I'll be done in 10 minutes. So
The documentary, by the way, is called That Guy Dick Miller. So
that guy, Dick Miller.
please go watch it. I wonder if it's on Shudder.
Oh, but you know what?
It's actually on Tubi.
What, Tubi?
Yep, it's on Tubi.
They have fucking everything.
They do.
Isn't that free?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple ad breaks, but I mean, other than that, it's not too
it's
bad.
like watching cable, with commercials.
Yeah.
But you know what I learned the other day, actually? It's a little off topic, but
Oh, that's completely fine.
who was in Devil's Rejects, the one who passed away recently, like a year ago or so. He played Captain Spaulding.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Sid.
Yeah.
Sid Haig.
Apparently, did you ever watch American Horror Story? That clown that was in it, that's the same dude.
Really?
That's what I was told. I haven't like done my research yet,
Let me
but
confirm that. I don't know if that's true, but let's see. Sorry, guys, I'm going off a little off topic.
But I swear.
I'm not seeing.
TV shows.
Let me go to his IMDb. I think it was maybe inspired.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I don't think Sid actually.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not on his
Okay.
credits.
Well,
so whoever told you
yeah,
was fooled.
I guess so. Bamboozled.
But I mean, like, it's not wrong. It's definitely it does look like him.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it was just the clown.
Yeah.
Thing that, but.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sorry, guys, a little off topic, but that's completely fine. We get to learn new things here.
Yeah. So anyways, Killbot enters the scene again. He comes up to Walter, who's mopping the floor. The robot kind of sneaks up on him and he starts talking shit. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing, you little bastard?"
Yeah, knocks over his water can.
Yeah, it knocks over his mop bucket or his water. Spills everything. He's like, "Oh, what the fuck was that for?" So he asks for his ID. He's just arguing with the freaking robot. He like tries to hit it with a mop. This thing decides to shoot its taser into the water. He's like, "What the hell is that even supposed to be?" And then this motherfucker decides to just zap him to death, and it's honestly a little satisfying to watch.
Yeah.
But then it just like strolls away so nonchalantly, and it's just like, okay, have a nice day. Bye. Thank you. Have a nice day. Yeah.
It's so funny.
But then we
poor
go.
Dick Miller, man. He's only used in movies to
die.
Freaking killed.
Yeah, that's his thing, though. I guess everybody, I feel like, has their thing. He's the guy who gets killed.
You know what I realized too? Like thinking back, that shot, because Dick Miller is really short. Like he's like super short, and the way that's filmed, it's like down.
Oh, like, an angle to make him look taller.
It's angled down, like so you see part of the robot, but then Dick Miller, I think they're trying to make him seem taller than a robot. Because I think honestly,
he's probably like the same height of his.
I think he was shorter than the robots. Yeah, that's
funny.
Very short. That's
interesting though.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
So then we go back to Leslie and Mike, who are cuddling in bed. They clearly just had sex. And Leslie really wants a cigarette. And so Mike, he's like, "Oh, we got some Camels under the register." She's like, "You only know I smoke Virgin Lights." She's like, "There's a machine over down the hall or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then we got more chewing noises.
It's like this
guy
has endless gum. It's
I
like
know.
his mouth just creates gum.
I know. Fucking pisses me off.
I can't imagine chewing it for that long. His jaw.
I start to right, that, and then like after it loses flavor, you like choke on it.
Yeah, it's gross. It gets all like stringy and ugh.
No, I'm set. I used to chew gum constantly. I'm glad
Me too.
I
haven't actually had gum in a long time. I should probably start chewing it again because it's actually pretty good for you.
But so he goes to get some cigarettes, chewing his gum along the way. Realizes he doesn't have enough money. And then we got a phone ringing.
Yes. You want me to take it away? Or do you want to go for it?
Yeah. Yeah, bad.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mikey, he's at the cigarette machine, realizes he doesn't have enough money. It's like $1 and change. You know, it only probably has like less than $1. I don't think he ever really says how much he has. But all he does is he's just looking around.
And that fucking smug look on his
It's
face.
just like once you hear him chewing, it's all you hear for the rest of the day,
Ugh.
and it's so annoying.
So this scene, if it annoys you when you're watching this movie, this scene you will enjoy very much.
Oh my god, yeah. So he's doing that, and he's looking at the cigarette machine, but it also kind of feels like there's someone watching him. And then the phone rings, and then he's like, "That nobody's here. No, I don't know who you're talking about." And he's fixing his goddamn hair, and then we pan back, and there's the robot, and he shows him the ID, but the robot doesn't care. He shoots him with some darts to knock him out, and then as he's knocked out, which this is kind of like fucked up. I don't like this scene at all. As after he's knocked out, he reaches out with like his claw and then just cuts his neck.
Oh, I know.
And it's like, what the hell? Like, why didn't you just do that in the first place? Why'd you have to knock him out to do that? Unless you didn't want to hear him scream. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you know what's funny too? It's like whenever they're about to kill, you notice that you see the little clamps going.
Yeah.
And it's so sinister. It's just like.
Yeah, I love it. It's so simple, but it works very, very well. Then we cut back to where everybody else is, and Leslie's thinking Mike's playing like a trick on her, and it's like, where are you? This is really funny, Mike. I want my cigarettes. So she goes out, and she pretty much gets chased by one of the bots because she finds his dead body, and he's shooting lasers at her, and the lasers are actually pretty damn funny and comical. It's like early stages of them really trying to use CGI, and she gets in front of the door where all the other people are. Everybody's awake now, and as she's screaming, we get a very satisfying and very famous head explosion, and it's very, very good. It's not super gory, but it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
You hear the pop and everything.
I enjoyed that kill a lot. And just they all oh wait, no, it's not that one. Then they all see it, right, too.
Yeah,
and
they
like
all see it and start screaming
yeah.
and like getting like, we gotta do something. So they start running away and get to like the stock room of the furniture store, because the bot is chasing them now, and they barricade it with just whatever the hell they can and trying to figure out what to do. And they're like, we gotta find weapons and try to get out of here before the mall closes, like, because I think it's probably like 11 o'clock now, and they're saying they only have like an hour left or something like that. They have to like hurry to get out before they get locked in there. And as they're doing that, the mall closes completely, and they are now screwed and trying to figure out what the hell to do. Then they're still in the stock room, and then Allison points out, hey, there's a vent up here. Let's try to go through the shaft. And they're like, oh, okay, that's a pretty good idea. Let's go and do that. So they get everybody in there. All the girls make it in there. As the last one goes in, which I think is Leslie. No, Leslie's dead. Sorry. Linda's the last one to go in there. The bot breaks down the door, and then all the guys run as the girls are in the
climbing vent. In the vent. Yeah.
So now everybody's split, and
and then the robot sets charges.
Yeah, and he blows down the door and everybody runs away. And then there's this really nice quote that I like that Susie, who is played by Barbara Crampton, says, because they're saying it's very hot in the vent, and they're like, oh, they must be controlling it from the thermostat because the computer or whatever. And she's like, they're trying to French fry us. It's like, that is so cheesy. Oh my god.
It's accurate though.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very cheesy.
I like how they like to with the vents when they turn the heat on, how it started getting hot, and they're like, oh shit, start wrapping your hands,
Yeah,
like,
so at least there's some sort of like intelligence in this movie, and not them just like, oh my god, my hands hurt.
Yeah,
my hands hurt, and just
well,
keep
as
going.
their skin's melting.
That would have been really cool if they showed that.
Oh
though,
yeah,
but
just like a handprint stuck to the friggin' vent.
yeah, I think the budget was probably too small for that though, unfortunately. So yeah, they're in the vent. Everybody's kind of going crazy in there, especially Susie, and she doesn't want to be in there 'cause she's being burned, and she thinks that Greg is being hurt or whatever. I think it's Greg, or is it Rick?
Um,
It must be Greg.
yeah.
Yeah. There's so many names in this.
Mm-hmm.
But the boys make it to what is it? Pack and Paws, the pretty much the armory of the mall, which places don't really carry guns anymore unless I
I
think.
know. I love how they're all out in the open too.
Yeah, I remember like Walmart used to have like live
Bullets and
ammunition and guns and stuff, but I think only in certain states, probably like Texas,
like
obviously probably
New Hampshire
Texas,
probably.
and maybe New Hampshire. I'm not
Maine.
sure, but some places still actually carry like guns and stuff. So they go in there, they get armed, they get an assault rifle, a shotgun, a handgun, and a fuel tank, and that's pretty good. I think, but I would have grabbed a lot
Another.
more than that,
Yeah.
more than just like one gun each, just in case, and maybe throw some
Each
grenades
grab
or
a
some shit in
handgun.
there.
Yeah, right.
Um, but
But
they find one of the robots, and Rick starts to pretty much fire at it, and then everybody else does. And as that's happening, they're also like shooting at them, but their aim is like stormtroopers. They're standing right there, and then like
and then they're just like avoiding them. They're just
yeah, all the
going
lasers
around them.
just going all around, and
Conveniently.
then they successfully, or they think they do, they take down one of the bots with the fuel tank, and then there's still two more to go. And Aaron, I will let you take it from here. This is when Susie starts getting kind of
Losing
out
it.
of hand.
Yeah, so Susie's getting rambunctious and she decides to kick open the vent to go and try and help Greg. She
Yes.
insists, so they end up following the guys. And then of course Susie not Susie, what's her name? Leslie? No, Leslie's the dead
Allison.
one. Allison, like yeah, see, I'm terrible with names.
It's all good.
She
There's like 8 characters.
but so they end up she follows her and they catch up with the guys. They get all armed up. Oh no, they go to the outdoor store, the camping store. They end up getting like flares and
Oh yeah, they
shit like
start
that.
making like Molotovs and
Molotov
shit.
cocktails, yeah. Because they're filling gas tanks with the rags, and
Yeah.
she's like telling them how to do it. And she's like, "Oh, you know a lot about this." um, but yeah, so they're making Molotov cocktails, and then you see a scene of Killbot 2 going reversing into the shadows into like a little doorway or like a tuckaway area,
Yeah,
and
pretty
like
smart
shutting
robot.
himself down. Yeah, they're learning. So then the guys end up getting the elevator open, and while the girls are making their bombs,
Yep.
and then you see a little scene of Allison stepping away from everyone else and seeing a bunch of flares and sticking one in her shirt, which that'll come into play
Yeah,
later.
it's just like, why didn't you tell anybody else about that? Like, why did you have to be so sneaky
She'll be like,
with
"Hey, guys, there's flares
with
here,
getting a
here."
flare? I mean, it's to set up for like what happens later, but it's like, I think it would have made a lot more sense if everybody else got one and not just
Yeah,
her. But I don't know. That's just me thinking. It was just kind of off-putting. Like, why did you have to sneak away to get a flare?
yeah. But so Killbot 1 returns, and
Yes.
they're setting up the elevator with fuel tanks, and they're like tying ropes and shit around them. Um,
Pretty
long,
smart. Pretty
yeah.
smart.
While Ferdy, who's like the nerd of the group, per se, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so.
He's like tampering with the panel in the elevator, trying to hack it to get it to work. But of course it's run by the computer as well, so he can't get it to like move.
Hmm.
So um finally Susie loses her shit as Killbot 2 starts to go after them. Um and then Alice ends up throwing one of the Molotovs, and then Susie ends up getting shot. in the leg with a laser, I believe, and then falling down.
Mhm.
They're all hiding behind cover watching this whole thing. They're like,
She's
oh, we
like
got.
crawling like
Yeah,
out of
she's
the
like,
toilet.
help me! Why aren't you doing anything? As the robot's just like coming up behind her, just shooting lasers and shit. Um, and then so, and in the midst of getting shot, she must have dropped one of the Molotov cocktails. So this robot comes up, looks right at the Molotov cocktail, shoots a fucking laser at it, and sets this bitch on fire.
Oh, poor Barbara Crampton, man. And I think
um,
the all the boys heard the girl screaming
yeah,
too,
they
and they
heard them
ran over
screaming,
there.
so they come running over and then just end up watching her burn,
Yeah.
basically. Um, but yeah, so Greg, who is pretty obviously pretty upset about this,
I
and
would be too, even if she wasn't my like girlfriend or anything. I would still be freaking the fuck out.
yeah. He starts losing his fucking temper and he's like getting snappy with everybody else. Getting ready to point his gun at um the other guy, and then Ferdy has the idea to track down a computer on the third floor.
Yep.
Um, so but they end up shooting the robot. They're blasting away and then running away to get its attention. Rick ends up going to the elevator to lure him inside, and then they end up unloading on him again until everything explodes and ends up dropping it down, and therefore, well, they're shooting the stormtroopers too at first, and
Yeah,
then
it's really funny. It's like
the way it happens because they're all like shooting around and shit, and then Allison comes up, grabs her revolver, is like, "Give me this motherfucker," and then just one
yeah,
shot just fucking
it
blows them up.
it's like there's two or three tanks on top, and all you have to do is aim in that direction, and they're not small tanks. And there's
Yeah,
like three or four people shooting, and it
bound to
takes,
hit one, get one shot in.
and then she just comes over and just like one bullet blows everything up, and you're like, oh, nice shot. Ugh.
She's like, my dad was a Marine.
Yeah, like what does that have to do with anything? First of all, like I understand that he was a Marine, but did you go to that training?
Well, I think a lot of military dads will teach their kids that shit too,
I guess that's no.
But
Yeah, okay.
yeah, but
That's
um,
yeah, okay, I can see that.
yeah, my uncle's in the army. And, I don't know if he really taught any of his daughter that, but um, it definitely affects their parenting skill, like not skills, but like the way they parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyways, um, so they end up blowing up the robot. They're all chilling in a store.
Success.
Success, yeah,
Actual success this time.
yeah, for real. But they're in a store, like just chilling out, hiding for now. They're on guard. They got their guns ready. And Linda's doing math on the calculator for tune-ups.
Yeah.
But like, so I didn't really like tune-ups for what?
I think they were trying to, because they were saying they blew up like um these
Um,
these bots, and
yep.
it's like the property for whoever made the bots.
Oh,
So like, oh, we're gonna have to like pretty much owe like 85 years like worth of, because like
work.
they're paying everything.
Yep.
And then Rick asks, well, how many tune-ups would that be? And she was like, it would be 2,900,431.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a joke because like the robots
Yep.
and everything. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I didn't understand the context of it at first. That's why.
Yeah.
But
Understandable. I had to listen to it a couple of times too. I was like, wait, what did it just say? I was like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
that's pretty funny. But and then Greg ends up getting pissed because they left the air shaft, and he's like, "Now Susie's dead. It's your fault. You should have stayed there." And
Yeah, it's like I told you it was safe, so why did you go away? It's like,
but,
well, she wanted to come and see you, bro. She was afraid that something was happening to you.
yeah. But Saferdi, he comes up, as mentioned before, is like a plan to find the control room and the computer to shut the computers down. The not the computer, sorry, the killbots.
Yep.
From there, so they're like, oh yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. So, they go out. Greg pushes ahead, and then ends up getting killed by a bot thrown 3 stories down
Yeah,
to
he's
his
so
death.
stupid. Like, I'm gonna let my guard down. Like, yeah, yeah, I'm over
Yeah,
here,
I'm a
man.
tough
It's
son.
clear. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then,
Like an idiot. Like, he stayed with the group. They're even telling you, like, hey, fall back, dude. Fall back.
yep. But so, um, anyways, the bots are approaching, and they have to lift a gate, and then Alice ends up. Sorry, I didn't mean to play with the mic.
No, are you good? I don't think it popped.
But, uh, sorry. So they're shooting. She ends up getting shot with a laser, um, and they're trying to get the gate open. Two, of them start to like Jedi style, like carve a friggin'
Yeah, I thought that was
doorway in,
really cool.
with their lasers. Um, so then you got Killbot 3. He's alone. He's looking for, the humans. And Linda ends up breaking down and freaking out. And, yeah. Uh, sorry. Rick and Allison, they're up while everybody's sleeping. And Birdie, comes up and he's holding her. And
Yeah, they're all like at this point I would be exhausted too.
oh yeah, you
Um,
gotta sleep in shifts at that point. You have to.
yeah, and it's just funny to see that at this point where I interpret this as Allison is more of a man than Ferdy
Yeah.
because like Rick is awake and his girlfriend Linda is asleep. Okay, she's a girl, and then Ferdy is asleep and
And she's guarding
Allison's
him.
awake. So it's kind of like a cool scene to be like, well, she's definitely probably the one in charge
Yeah.
in this group or whatever. But I kind of like just the way that was shot, and then he wakes up and then it's just like, yeah, I'll hold you, you know. It's kind of sweet and it's also really sad,
Yeah.
because like they just lost everybody, and more shit's about to happen. But
But
as they're sleeping, they hear the killbots finally break through the door that is like solid steel, I believe. And then they come up with this idea of like, well, they want to hunt us, so we're in this closed door with a bunch of mannequins. So let's set these up. So they sent them up, and they start shooting at the mannequins, but then they have mirrors behind the mannequins to deflect the lasers. I want to know, how did they know that the
that the
mirror
lasers would
was going
bounce.
to deflect the lasers back at them? I would,
Yeah.
if it could, if the laser can cut through metal, why can't
Why
it
can't it go
cut
through the
through
mirror?
glass? Like that's what I was just like, what is this? I mean, it's a cool concept and everything, and I know
Yeah.
it's like you've definitely seen that in like cartoons and stuff like that. But it kind of defeats what was happening before because they were just cutting
So
through
these
metal.
lasers useless now.
Yeah, it's just like they did just use all their energy just to.
Cut through the door.
Yeah, it was like more potent for that and like less potent for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that was also kind of funny to point out.
Yeah.
Um, and as that is happening, Linda gets shot, and then fucking Rick. Okay, they're all shooting at the bots now, but there's this like little, I guess, like floor cleaner that drives super slow, and he jumps on it shooting at the bot, driving slow, and the bot shooting at him, and then they crash into each other and he gets electrocuted. It's like, why did you have to go on this thing to kill it? And it makes absolutely no sense. So he dies and the bot explodes. Like, it's cool, you kind of got what you wanted at the end, but you're dead, you
Yeah.
fucking
Right. Was it
idiot.
worth it?
Yeah, so I believe Linda's dead now too because she got shot.
Yep.
And then and now it's just Allison and Ferdy, and they come up with a plan like, okay, we gotta find this place, but we need to split up. Ferdy doesn't like the idea, but Allison's like, well, we'll
It's the
cover
only.
more
Yeah.
ground,
Yeah.
and figure out. And they
That's what
just
makes
like,
sense.
I'll just yell if anything happens. So they follow through with that. They go through two different corridors. We get some really cool like suspense. Close. I call it close quarter horror because it's very intimate and close with both Ferdy and Allison because they're walking down this like one narrow hallway. Especially Ferdy, his hallway's wicked long,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like a little ominous music, and all you hear is their footsteps. Allison makes
Oh
her way
yeah.
to like this room. I don't know what kind of room it is. It's probably like a storage room or something, and starts hearing noises. Opens up a door, and she has like a pipe, and then beats the hell out of this pile of junk that like falls out of
Like a closet.
yeah, the closet. And so her guards down a little bit because she's like, oh, okay, well, I was just stupid and whatnot.
Yeah.
So she pretty much continues through the room, and you're like seeing what she's seeing, and then we get a jump scare. I think it's like the first jump scare of the whole movie with one of the killbots, and it's now moving so slow to Allison as she's screaming for Ferdy, and she's like, ah, and it's just like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna
It's
get
like
you, I'm gonna get you, and
it's one of those like classic scenes that's just like
yeah. It's like, just get me already, would you? And then Ferdy hears and runs. He shoots the thing in like its laser eye, and I don't know if it blinded it or whatnot, but it's saying like the laser's now malfunctioning, so maybe it just like disabled the laser so it can't shoot now.
Yeah.
And he throws it like, I think it's an extinguisher or something at it, and then it decides to
just, like,
throw it
right
back at him and knocks him out.
Yeah, like cracks his head open too.
Yeah, and he's like, and then it declares that it's dead and says, "Thank you, have a nice day." And then Allison is obviously freaking out, and now she kind of has to run and really find the control room. But as she's doing that, she decides to go and hold out in a pet shop, which this makes me really upset, man. Seeing all those dogs and shit in there and closing, nobody in there for hours on end. Like, fuck pet shops, man. Can we go on like a little rant right now about that? Like,
yeah. I'm always down for pet talk.
If you guys want an animal,
rescue, please.
Please rescue. Don't even go to a breeder, to be honest. Like, I think that's kind of bad too.
They can be bad news.
Go to a rescue.
Yeah.
A good rescue, not a shitty one, a good one. Don't buy from a shop, please, because I got a dog when I was a very young kid from a pet shop from a mall, and it was very aggressive and hated everything and tried to bite me and everything else. Like, it would not learn, had the worst behavior ever. Don't, because they're treated like shit, and as you can see in this movie, nobody's there on hours on end, you know. So that's my little tangent on that. Please support the dogs that actually need it, like the rescue groups. Please, please, please. My mom is also part of a rescue group, and she fosters a lot of dogs. So please, please go help all the ones that can't speak. But anyway, she is holding up in a pet shop, and this bot's really freaking smart because he's like, he knows that she's in there, but it knocks over like
a
tanks with spiders and snakes, and I think there's some cockroaches in there too, just to kind of get her to freak out. But she's a freaking trooper. Does not make a sound at all while the thing is like scanning around her.
And the spiders crawling on her, and
yeah, like everything's on her. She's not making a sound. I would be freaking out, to be honest. Like, I'm not good with things crawling on me. I'm okay with spiders, but once it's like on me,
yeah, fuck that.
Fuck that. Especially snakes. Who knows if it's venomous or not? I'd be freaking out. And I saw one thing that on the side of her as she's like getting out after the bot leaves. Like, I don't know what this is, but it's cropped really bad, and it says cock starter on it, and I don't know what that is. Like, we're in a pet shop. You don't see the full thing at all, so I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was just like a funny gag that they threw in there or whatnot. But like, what the fuck would that be?
Maybe Cocker Spaniel or something, but that's the only thing I could think of.
I have no idea, but it's just really funny to see something like that.
Yeah.
And I think we get a little bit of like a homage to Little Shop of Horrors, because as she's leaving the pet shop, it says Little Shop of Pets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a nod to Little Shop of Horrors or if that was something, but they were panning at it and then panned back to her.
Yep.
So I'm thinking that they must be like nodding to,
Little Shop of
Little
Horrors.
Shop of Horrors, which I think is actually pretty cool. And the original Little Shop of Horrors is actually on Shudder right now, the black and white one, not the Rick Moranis version. So go watch that one. It's really really good. Um, and then she decides to hang on the railings on the opposite side of so the bot can't see her. So she's like dangling down. I think she must be at the highest,
Probably the third level,
the
yeah.
third level. I would have to guess. So she's hanging on that. She can't hang on to it for too long, and then she drops down on a tent. I am surprised she didn't break her back, but I feel like I would have, even if there
She
was.
definitely hurt her legs though, because she was crawling for the first like.
Yeah, I would be fucked up. Even if there was something like to cushion my fall, I would still be fucked up,
Oh yeah,
to be
me
honest.
too.
And then we get her remembering, oh, I have a flare from earlier that I snuck away and grabbed and didn't tell anybody about. Like, why? Your friends are dying. You could have used this way earlier on if you knew what to do with it. So she makes her way to a paint shop. Um, I don't know if that's where I would go for a flare. I don't know what the heat signature of a flare is,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess it's enough to light like
Yeah, I mean,
paint and like thinner and shit like that.
yeah.
So
I mean, that was
she,
smart of her.
yeah,
But
and the way she breaks the glass too
I
is
know.
like she's like covering it and then she just runs very lightly into
Mm-hmm.
the glass like it breaks like nothing. Imagine if that was real life, people just like
Rather
tapping
than do
glass and it just
glass, like
breaks.
yeah.
It's really funny. So she does that and then starts emptying like cans of paint and thinner and everything like in this like one spot.
You talk about how easily those cans look like they popped open too.
Yeah, it's like every time I've gotten paint from anywhere, even with like a flathead screwdriver, it's still a pain in the ass to open. Like you're like, and like I think at one point I had like a crowbar too or
Mm-hmm.
something to, like open it and it wouldn't. It was so bad. But yeah, she's opening them like nothing. The killbot enters and gets like stuck in this one spot because the paint I imagine must make the tracks not want to like work
Work.
right.
Yeah.
And then she runs out and then she says back to it, "Have a nice day." And I like the way it that she says it because there's like a lot of effects on it, like echoes and stuff.
Yep.
And then she tosses it in the flare, and then it just explodes. It's great.
I love how like the robot too like turned around so confidently, like I'm gonna get you, motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a really cool ending, and then we get a pretty happy one too, with her realizing or finding out that Ferdy is still alive, and he just has a head wound. He's got like a wad of like
Fucking toilet
towels.
paper.
He's like patting his head with blood and shit, and it kind of pans away from them to like I think the ceiling of the mall,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the end of Chopping Mall. This movie is very fun, super 80s, but I mean everything in the 80s is very very good
Oh,
in
yeah.
my opinion. I love the 80s.
Me too.
Um, but we can
The
start
music, the
talking.
movies,
Yeah,
everything.
if you want to pull up the IMDb so we can talk about some of the actors and whatnot and figure out how much this movie made. Um, but if you guys haven't seen Chopping Mall, this was on Shudder and it's no longer there. If you do want to watch it and you're looking for it on a streaming service, it's on Tubi for free, with a couple of ad breaks that aren't too bad. It's a very, very good movie. I thought I heard a while ago that someone was trying to remake Chopping Mall. Can we just not? Can we not?
You don't mess with a classic.
Don't mess with Chopping Mall. I think there was a sequel, or there was a sequel being made but never was finished. I could be wrong about that though.
Hmm.
But what do we got for some stats over there, Aaron?
Alrighty. Ah. So box office numbers, the budget was roughly $800,000
Okay, it's a pretty low budget,
for a movie. Yeah, I'd say so.
and for the times as well.
Yeah. Um, that's all it gives me on here.
Oh, really? It doesn't tell you how much it was made? How much it made? Hmm.
Let's see. Shopping mall. Box office.
Maybe that's how much it made.
Oh, there was a remake in
Oh, they did.
2004.
Did they actually remake it? I thought that was like a dead project.
Oh, well, there's no information on it, so it might have
Oh,
been.
I think it was canned. I think it was trying to be remade, and then they were like, "Yeah, no."
But yeah. So we can go to look at the critic scores next.
Yes.
Tomato meter, 50%.
Okay.
And that's 10 reviews.
Really?
Yeah.
Over this many years, only 10 people reviewed, like actual critics. Critics.
Guess so.
I mean, 50%. I guess it's not that bad. It's an average movie.
Yeah. And then 38% for the audience score, and that's 5,000 plus.
Why, people? Why you gotta shit on everything? People can't be happy
That's
with
why we can't have
anything.
nice things.
But please go watch Chopping Mall if you haven't. If you like cheesy 80s horror, please watch this. It's got some pretty funny music and some funny dialogue. Like, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
So who are our stars?
Well, of course, Barbara. No, it's not Barbara Crampton, right? Was
No,
it?
it's
Yeah,
Barbara
Barbara
Crampton.
Crampton. Yeah. We got Tony Dell, who played Birdie.
Kelly. I always forget how to say her last name.
Maroney.
Kelly Maroney is a very good actress too. This is her coming off of her stardom of Night of the Comet, which is a very very good like apocalyptic movie that was also in the 80s, and she did a very good job. Aaron, if you've never seen Night of the Comet, you should watch it because it's very good. Maybe we'll review it on here at some point. It technically is a horror. I would say that
Mm-hmm.
it's very very good. I love the whole plot in that. She's very good in it. She's a sister to the main character, um, and she's kind of a brat in it, kind of like complete opposite of like what she is in
And
Chopping Mall.
yeah,
But it's very good. I love that movie so much. So maybe we'll get to that at some point. Maybe this year. We'll see.
yeah.
But yeah, she's done a lot of other things, and she's very into the horror conventions. So I'm sure you'll find her in a horror convention at some point.
Yeah. Once things settle down a bit more,
Yes.
and the rise in COVID again.
Yeah. Let's all get vaccinated, people. Wear your masks. Let's do our part, please.
But yeah.
Let's see. Is there anything else you want to add to this, Aaron?
Um.
There's like a lot of like other like cool facts from like for the robots and stuff. I was very like low budget.
Yeah.
Um, but nothing like super duper crazy in this film. I know Joe Bob did review this too, so if you guys want even more facts, the full episode isn't on Shutter anymore, but you can listen to his segments on his playlist that he has on Shutter if you want to go and listen to all the stuff that he can dig up because he finds information and knows more information than like anything that Aaron and I could find in like a day. He's like super versed in everything. He knows everybody. I wish I was that knowledgeable, but I'm learning, little by little every single time that we do these episodes.
Yeah.
Did you find anything
Um.
interesting?
So they filmed it in a real California mall.
Oh yes, that's actually that's yeah.
Yeah.
They had
It's
to do
a.
it during closing hours.
Yep. As long as they did not damage any facilities and had removed any traces of their presence before the mall opened at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a funny fact. Yeah, that's definitely something we should mention.
Um, says while the mall's head of security didn't like the filmmakers and was constantly accusing them of causing disrepair, the mall's owner was supportive of the film and made sure that the production was able to complete its work on schedule.
Yeah, that's a pretty good fact right there. Knowing that you can go to a mall and be like, "Yeah, I want to use all of this," and you're like, "Yeah,
Go for
go ahead."
it.
Nowadays, you have to get so many
If I had a
permits and
mall,
shit.
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's so hard to get anything done nowadays. You have to have a lot of money. You got to get permits. You got to get people to sign signatures and do all this shit.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a filmmaker. Sight sightseeing, I think, is what it would be. Was it sight reading, or wherever it is when you go like just
Window
location
shopping.
scouting
Oh.
is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Location scouting is very important nowadays. What's really cool is that we're gonna be getting the Rob Zombie monsters soon, and like I was looking at a lot of his location scouting that he found.
Yeah.
That I really hope he does justice for this, and it's not gonna be just his wife doing everything,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see if he's gonna go full rated R on this.
Yeah,
or if
right.
it's gonna be true to what the monsters were. But that's a whole nother discussion that we can have. But I think that's pretty much all I have for Chopping Mall.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything you want to add, Aaron,
If
outside of the movie or
you
anything
go to any
for the movie.
malls, be careful.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There you go. Don't you see a robot run?
right. Um, yeah, I think we covered everything. Um, keep watching horror.
Yes. Promote.
Support your 80s classics.
Yes. Promote, support, spread horror. It's very in much of a need now, especially how like last year's been and how this year's going. Horror definitely hits topics that a lot of other genres can't do. So that's why I like horror a lot, because they can get away with a lot more.
Yeah.
Um, but next week we don't know what we're going to be doing because we have to get a whole new schedule for our month 2. So once we figure out what that will be, I will let everybody know on the socials. Aaron, I'm probably going to have you pick most of them for this month. This month, since
Okay.
I think I picked pretty much all of them for last month. So we will definitely go through and let all of you guys know. Unless, are you trying to find one now?
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking.
Okay. Mm. I mean, we probably could do a Friday the 13th movie
Yeah.
if you
I mean,
wanted.
do the original.
Yeah, we could probably do that. I know for sure the 18th of this month we are bringing on uh, a
Scorpion.
guest who we're supposed to have on a couple months, not a couple months ago, but like a month ago, as this is going through like a big rough patch. Um, so Scorpion BLS will be here, and we'll be doing our comparison of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the remake. So that would be on the 18th. That would be a Saturday. So we'll might do 2 episodes that week, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe we'll let you guys know how it goes and how busy we are. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this episode. Once again, guys, if you want to support us even more, you can go on our Patreon and pledge $1 to get all of the episodes early before anybody else. Also, come on our Twitch to come and join us for all of our live streams. I'm going to be getting a schedule up this week as well to start doing midday, just chatting. Um, no streams for all you guys, so we can just sit down and chat and whatnot, and just talk horror, and not really just about a movie. It could be about anything. But that pretty much wraps it up for us. This was the Baron's Hideout podcast. I was your host, Dustin,
And I was your co host, Aaron.
and we'll see you guys next time. Come listen.